Hi guys, welcome to Doug's Shoe Bushcraft. The topic today is a very lightweight emergency bivvy and a sleeping bag I've modified for it. And also I'll go over a free option, something you can make for yourself cheap or free, something I use for years and years. I'm trying to compress this wisdom, this experience down into a very short video to present to you. So there's some sort of emergency and you're going to sleep on the ground, out in the woods, in the rain. Well, one thing that can happen is you wake up in the middle of the night and you're getting flooded. So where I am now, it's on top of a little hill. It's not going to flood because the rainwater is draining off this little hill. In fact, there's a creek over there. Small little creek. I think a lot of times in the summer it dries up, and right now there's rainwater draining into it. Okay, then on top of this hill is various evergreen trees. Some of them have a good canopy that's shedding water, and the deer know that because I can see how the leaves are packed down where the deer have been bedding down under this particular tree and other trees with a good canopy. And I'm not wrong because there's deer droppings in many spots around here. So that's a clue. I mean, the animals think it's a good place to shelter. Maybe it will be for you. Of course, it's not a perfect roof. It's not going to shed all the rain. But when I was standing just 30 feet over there, I was getting a significant amount of rain on me. And here, just an occasional little drip. So a lot better off right there, and the ground's drier. Particularly up on the hill compared to the bottom of the little hill. It's not a big hill, just enough for drainage. You know, so if I was gonna camp out down there, it'd be all soggy. And there's bigger ridges around here, so it's not a lot of wind where I am right this second. So then a lot of evergreen trees, as they grow, the lower branches die. So there were a couple that are completely dead, just absolutely dead. So I snapped off one, not completely, left a stub coming out like 6 inches or so. And there's a hanging loop for my pack. I hung it on the branch stub. So this pack isn't completely waterproof. It's water resistant, so now it's going to start to dry out a little bit. I mean that the driest place here is like right close to the tree. Okay, so I'm going to set up my bivvy under my tree roof. Could set it right down on the ground. Have a bunch of leaf litter here just naturally. Really, I'd want more insulation than that, so I could pile up leaves or get some evergreen boughs or something. But the premise here is some sort of emergency. I'm injured or whatever the situation is. I don't have the time or energy, so I'm just setting up a shelter quickly that I brought along. So the first thing I'm going to do is put down my padding. Fits just in the back of my pack, and that acts like a padded back, makes it more comfortable. Got 3 of these squares that I cut from a just a cheap camp sleeping pad. Usually I roll it up. I cut the squares because it conveniently fits in the back of the pack. Not the most expansive mattress in the world. Just big enough for me, for my core. My legs are going to stick out there unless I curl up in a fetal position. Could do that. And just as an aside, a lot of people that don't prepare and they're found expired or in really bad shape, a lot of times they are in a fetal position. So there's a way to protect yourself. I'd rather have just a little bit of emergency gear. So I got those 3 squares. That's a total of 3 ounces. And then the very bottom of the pack. And actually I like that because kind of keeps my pack open. So I'm putting things in and out. And this might be a real sorry excuse for a pillow. This gray duct tape, that's not just for decoration or touch of class. That keeps my pillow together. But duct tape is reusable, so I could peel that off. It's a fire starter. It's also something of an emergency bandage, or if you don't have stitches, as no doctor, I need to keep that closed. I mean, I put pressure on it till the bleeding stops basically, and then I can bind it shut with duct tape. I mean, you know, I'm not a doctor. This isn't recommended. This is trying not to die sort of stuff. All I'm saying is there's 1,001 uses for my duct tape. Doesn't that look beautiful? Okay, maybe not. I'm doing my best here. Okay, so it's not a 5-star hotel. Here I am, kinda out in the rain, off the wet ground. Got some insulation, even a little bit of cushion and a pillow. Okay, we're not living large, but if the worst happens, I'm living. We haven't got to the bivvy shelter yet. Just gets better and better. So this is the Bivvy, SOL Escape Bivvy. Used it camping out in at least one of my videos. I'll put the link to that in the description. But SOL, I think they say it stands for Survive Outdoors Longer. We used to say like surely out of luck or something like that. There's people that love these and hate these. It is what it is. Comes in a stuffed sack. And this material, to me, seems a lot like Tyvek. Except for Tyvek seems to actually have like open air holes. I'm not seeing any in this. But it makes a crinkling sound, not as crinkly as Tyvek in my opinion. But it's just a similar material and seems to be a similar strength and toughness while being lightweight. And how do I know so much about Tyvek bivvy bags? Well, let me show you. This is many, many years old. No stuffed sack. Comes with a tactical rubber band. Got some pine pitch on it from the old days. So this is just Tyvek. I've used Tyvek for years and years. Actually, Tyvek is a brand name. This is some sort of generic or off-name house wrap. And back in the day, I could only find or only knew about white Tyvek, so I lightly sprayed this with blobs of camouflage paint, green and brown, just so the white wouldn't look like a neon sign out in the woods. I just want to blend in a little bit better. Of course, in the winter you have snow cover, then just the white Tyvek is snow camouflage, right? And this, I forget the name of it, if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, what to ask for. I think it's just called carpet tape. And it's double-sided, and you just cut the shape of a bag and stick it together, and I'm done. I did that for a long time. Then I could actually find brown and green Tyvek, and life was good. Could spray blobs of paint on it if I wanted to, or didn't have to. And use that for a long time. A lot of times I knew I could get it for free. There was this building supply place that had like a box where they put scraps for free. I'd grab some scrap Tyvek, roll it up, bring it on a trip. A lot of times I'd go with on motorcycle camping trips with people, and many times I didn't even bother making a bag. I just roll up my sleeping bag kind of loosely in Tyvek and go to sleep under a tree. I mean, you have a big piece of Tyvek, you can hang it up with a tarp, you know. Did that. Let's say it's in the winter, it's a snowstorm. Got the Tyvek hanging up, you get a bonfire going, you get some burn holes in your Tyvek. I mean, I just take it home and throw it in the trash. It's not like I'm losing expensive gear. But this works well. I mean, Tyvek is just crinkly. When you first get it, it's extra crinkly, and some people make a bivvy sack out of it and then throw it in the washer, washing machine, and say the crinkling goes away. I've never done that. I just use it, and the crinkling gets less over time. But let's look at the store-bought option. It's raining harder now. I'm getting some drips through my tree roof. I'm doing this for you guys. Alright, the store-bought professional bivvy, emergency bivvy by SOL. It's what I would call a similar material to Tyvek. Why do you want that? Why is that good? Well, it's strong. It's also breathable. A lot of people say, well, I'll just wrap up in my impermeable poncho, or they have snaps or grommets where they can make their impermeable poncho into like an envelope, use that as a bivvy sack, or some people want to use a trash bag or contractor bag. Well, you can do that. The thing is, it's really steamy. Your body gives off humidity, and you're not getting water coming in from the outside. You got water on the inside. Your perspiration isn't going to evaporate. If you pull it over your head, now the steam from your breath is going in there, and you can get soaking wet. And you know, it doesn't matter if I get wet from rain or falling in the creek or my own perspiration and breath making me wet. If I get soaking wet, then I'm going to be cold. So this, at least in theory, is breathable. I know that Tyvek is. It's not perfect. It can get a little bit steamy. And I've used this, and again, it's not like just sleeping outside in the sleeping bag or blanket without the bivvy. There is a little bit of steaminess to it. However, in my opinion, a lot better. And it's reflective, like those old, or similar to those old Mylar space blankets. And again, some people want to wrap up in those, or they actually make so-called sleeping bags out of that solid Mylar. It's not breathable, so when possible, I'd avoid it. What I like to do if something's impermeable is like sit against a tree and drape it loosely over my body, and that feels a lot better to me. If I have a bag, particularly a mummy bag, the mummy bags are the worst in my opinion, but this has reflective material on the inside. Their claim is that it reflects your body heat. I'm not sure it really does anything, because you know, it's one thing if you were in there without a stitch of clothing. If I'm in there with my normal clothing on, I'm not sure this does very much. Maybe it does a little bit. Don't mean to open up a debate. If you think it's great, then that's your opinion, that's fine. Not arguing, just people. If anyone wants to know my opinion, the reflective doesn't hurt. I'm not really thinking it helps. So this is going to keep some of your body heat in. It's going to be blocking wind to settle down on, you know, hypothermia. It's going to cut the wind chill, I mean. It's going to keep you dry. If it's breathable, so your perspiration can get out, then a little bit of water can also get in. That's the trade-off. But just inside this at night, you're going to be warmer. Okay, I got my pad underneath me, that's good, but really it makes a big difference to have some sort of insulation on top of this. So what I have is a Snugpack Jungle Blanket. It's a very similar material, similar design to a Woobie, I would say, but it's lighter. And it comes just as a blanket. However, I modified it like I do many things. I put grommets around it so I can tie it together, make an envelope like a sleeping bag. So what I did was I tied it with the grommets into an envelope. I have the foot box closed off, and then I left this much open. It doesn't have a zipper or anything. It's just got this much for quick access. And then the SOL Bivvy has a zipper. I noticed these days they have a less expensive version. Doesn't have the zipper. I think when I bought this years ago, that wasn't available. Okay, so just this setup, I'd be fine. Got sleeping pad, little economy pillow, emergency bivvy with a jungle blanket. I modified into a simple sleeping bag. That's all I really need. Light rain. Even if I had other gear, I might just leave it like that, because a lot of times I just like sleeping out in the open rather than a tent or even under a tarp. I don't think it's fun. But I'd definitely be okay. If I got heavier rain, even torrential rain, I could survive. It'd be nicer to have something over me. So it's good to bring a lightweight poncho, lightweight tarp. In this case I have an Arcturus poncho. I can quickly hang over that. Okay guys, this is what works for me a lot of times. This is just what I carry out into the woods with the intention of just crashing in this. Also works well if you're learning to build bushcraft shelters, that instead of a tarp or hanging up a poncho or something, you build your bushcraft shelter. You know, you do it safe. I mean, you can do it in the backyard. It doesn't have to be real remote, just someplace that you're safe. But when you're learning, you can build your bushcraft shelter. You try to sleep on it, in it during the rain. If you have like some sort of bivvy sack over your sleeping bag, whatever you have, if it's not as waterproof as you thought, you know, might help. Just a thought, guys. Okay guys, I don't feel like rattling off the weight of every piece of equipment I showed you today, so that will be in the description of the video, and I think I'll also pin a comment at the top. And I think we went over everything I had planned for today, so that's it for now. See you again soon. Be kind and compassionate to each other. Ephesians 4:32.